Carl Gustav Jung, one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, believed that our journey through the first decades of life is not the main story but rather a preparation for what lies ahead. He argued that life actually begins after 40. Until then, we are merely conducting research. This bold statement challenges how most people perceive aging. We are taught to fear aging and view middle age as a period of decline, chaos, or crisis. Popular culture is full of cliches about the so-called midlife crisis, a moment of existential dread, impulsive decisions, and desperate attempts to cling to youth. But Jung offers a radically different perspective. What if this phase of life isn't a crisis but an awakening? What if it's not an end but a new beginning? To understand this, we need to look at what the first 40 years of life represent. Think of these decades as a phase of exploration, a period during which we gather experiences, build identities, and learn to understand how the world works. It's a time of rapid growth where we absorb ideas and values from the people around us. However, it's also a period of searching. Questions like, who am I? And what brings me happiness? Drive us in our youth. The answers we find often seem incomplete in the early years. As we try to understand life, we simultaneously strive to discover who we really are. We build careers, relationships, families, face failures, and all of this shapes us. However, as Jung asserts in his work on archetypes and the collective unconscious, all of this is merely preparation, laying the foundation for something deeper. When we approach 40, we begin to realize that old ways of living no longer bring satisfaction. Priorities that once seemed urgent, such as career advancement and meeting others' expectations, start losing their appeal. We recognize that much of what we've done was shaped by other people's definitions of success and happiness. This realization, though unsettling, also brings freedom. It marks the beginning of a new phase, a process Jung called individuation, the path toward becoming whole, living according to one's own principles. This change doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process, often starting with quiet questions like, is this all there is? Or, am I living the life I truly want? These questions may arise during moments of reflection, perhaps upon reaching a career milestone, celebrating a significant birthday, or simply being alone with oneself at night. Instead of disappearing, these questions grow stronger, demanding answers that force us to confront ourselves more deeply than ever before. While the world may see this as a midlife crisis, labeling these moments of doubt and change as collapse, Jung invites us to rethink this experience. What if it's not a crisis but an opportunity? What if this phase of life, with all its doubts and changes, is exactly what we need to become who we're meant to be? In his book Memories, Dreams, Reflections, Jung notes that middle age is not the beginning of the end, but rather the beginning of something far more real, meaningful, and authentic. To fully grasp Jung's viewpoint, it's useful to consider how we view the first half of life. During this period, we focus on creating what he called the persona, our external identity presented to the world. This persona is formed under the influence of our upbringing, culture, and social expectations. It's a version of ourselves that seeks approval, conformity, and success in the eyes of others. It's a necessary stage without which we wouldn't have learned to navigate society or lay the foundations of adult life. Yet, the persona is not our complete self. It's a mask, a role we play, albeit a useful one. The problem arises when we become overly attached to it, mistaking it for our true selves. As we reach middle age, cracks begin to appear in the persona. Roles we've successfully played, like being a successful professional or caring parent, start feeling limiting. The real work, as Jung termed it, involves moving beyond the persona. Individuation entails integrating all parts of ourself, including those we've rejected, our fears, uncertainties, and unfulfilled desires. Confronting these shadow aspects can be uncomfortable, even painful, but it's essential for growth. Only by acknowledging and accepting these hidden dimensions do the questions we face cease to revolve around external achievements and instead focus on inner fulfillment. These deeply personal questions, what truly matters to me, and what kind of life do I want to create, cannot be answered based on others' expectations. They require us to look inward and listen to our inner voice. This introspective gaze often coincides with shifting priorities. In youth, ambition, competition, and the desire to prove our worth drive us. In middle age, we seek different kinds of connections and meaning. Life becomes less about doing and more about being. It's no longer about proving our value, but about living in harmony with our true selves. Neuroscientific research supports this transformation, showing that as we age, emotional centers in the brain become more balanced. We become less reactive and more reflective, better able to regulate our emotions and handle life's challenges with calmness and perspective. This emotional maturity allows us to make decisions based on our values rather than fears. We stop living on autopilot and start living intentionally. While middle age does come with challenges, it's important to remember that these challenges can lead to profound growth. The process of reevaluating and redefining ourselves often involves letting go of old identities, relationships, and goals. This can feel like loss, making it easy to see it as a crisis. But as Brené Brown points out, what we call a midlife crisis is often a breakdown. A moment when we're challenged to let go of who we thought we were and embrace who we truly are. This breakdown can be chaotic, involving difficult conversations, major life changes, or deep soul-searching. But it's also a time of immense growth. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, wrote that the primary force in human life is the will to find meaning. In middle age, this quest becomes even more pressing. No longer satisfied with living by a script, we search for a life that feels authentically ours. To achieve this, we must confront the fears that hold us back. Fears of judgment, failure, and the unknown. These fears can paralyze, but middle age presents an opportunity to face them head-on. It's a chance to rewrite the narrative of our lives. Abraham Maslow, a founder of humanistic psychology, described this process as self-actualization, the striving to fulfill our highest potential and become the best versions of ourselves. In middle age, self-actualization takes on new depth. It's no longer about achieving superficial success, but about leading an authentic and meaningful life. Research shows that people aged 40 to 50 often report higher levels of life satisfaction compared to those in their 20s and 30s. They feel a deeper connection with themselves and others, worry less about others' opinions, and focus more on what brings them joy and purpose. This is the gift of middle age, the freedom to live by your own rules. Jung believed that this freedom comes through embracing the complexity of our essence, integrating both light and dark, successes and failures, dreams and disappointments. It's about fully accepting ourselves, even the parts that are hard to acknowledge. In his Red Book, Jung said that the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely, but it's also the most liberating. So, instead of mourning what we've lost, let's celebrate what we've gained. Wisdom, clarity, resilience. Middle age is a time to build a life that reflects our true selves, a life that feels genuine and whole. It's a turning point, an opportunity to step into the life we were always destined to live. Though the path may be challenging, it's also deeply rewarding. Thus, middle age is not the beginning of the end. It's the beginning of something far deeper. It's a pivotal moment, a chance to enter a life defined by authenticity and purpose. Although the road ahead may be uncertain, it holds the promise of a richer, more fulfilling existence. Perhaps this reflection will be the beginning of something transformative for you. Perhaps it's a spark that will inspire those around you to ask questions, reflect, and awaken. Therefore, my deepest gratitude goes not only to you for watching but also for truly listening, for dedicating your time. The most valuable resource we have, to something that could plant a new perspective within you. If this video has touched you in some way, share it with someone else. Do so not just for the sake of the video itself, but for the idea it carries, because ideas possess an incredible power to transform the world when they find open minds like yours. Remember, changes start from small reflections which, like drops of water, eventually form the flow of a river. Thank you for joining me on this journey. We've reached the end of this video, but our conversation is far from over. Here you'll find 2 next steps to further deepen this reflection. I won't tell you what awaits, but I assure you it might surprise you. Click on one of them, and I'll be waiting for you to continue this path together.